Hello and welcome to another episode of Wannabe Entrepreneur. Today it's Thursday and we have another interview for you, the Wannabe Entrepreneur listeners. I have with me Xavier. Hey, how are you? Everything good with you?
Hey, Guy. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you for taking the time. The way I met Xavier was on Twitter. Surprise, surprise, meeting a lot of these entrepreneurs and bootstrappers on Twitter. And what really attracted me to your profile were two things. First of all, you are almost reaching 8K followers, which is really amazing. And congratulations to that. It's really nice.
Thank you.
And also the fact that you shipped 6 products in 6 months. And it's the first person that I'm interviewing that is actually following this approach of like every month doing something different. And I have so many questions about it. And we can also speak about your latest project, User Booster. So a lot of things to talk about. Xavier, thank you so much for joining. I'm sure that all the listeners will enjoy what you have to say. And I would like to, first of all, ask you to introduce yourself to the listeners in your own words.
So I'm Xavier Coiffard. I started my career like 12 years ago as a developer. So I've been a developer freelancer for 6 or 7 years. Then I joined a company, startups. And they eventually wanted to go to the US to open the US market. So I spent a few years there, and then it failed. So I came back working for new startups. I finally co-founded one with 2 guys, and then after a year I stopped, and I've been in the hacker for 1 year and a half or something, and 3 months. Yeah, like 15 months of indie hacking.
You have a lot of experience with startups. Have you also worked in like a bigger corporation before? You did, right?
Yeah. The company that I joined and that wanted to open the US market was
right.
A small part of a big bank of a huge retailer in France. So it's a big corporation.
Right. What is the big difference? Well, there are a lot of differences, but I guess one thing that really attracts you from startups that you don't have in bigger companies. What do you don't like about bigger companies?
It's all about speed. Speed of execution, decision making. Everything is about speed in startups. While in big corporation, you have to do meetings, to plan your meetings. It's like super slow. There is some good parts as well, because obviously there is a lot of money, you can do a lot of stuff, but it's always like super slow. You need to convince a lot of people, showing it to your boss, and then the boss of your boss, and then the boss of your boss of your boss, etc. While in startup you can have an idea and execute it like pretty quickly. So that's the main point, I guess.
I was working previously for Trivago, which is a bigger company. And at some point I thought, okay, me working here or not, the company would be the same. There would be no difference, right? And I don't know, sometimes I feel that entrepreneurs need to be a little bit self-centric, like it needs to be me. It needs to be me who actually taking the responsibility. It needs to be me who's actually helping the company. Do you feel like this? Do you see this in your personality as well? I know that you also like to sail. We're speaking a little bit about this off record, and I also feel this, like I love to be the captain on the boat because I love the responsibility and be the one actually moving and taking the shots to take the boat from A to B. Is this something also in your personality, that you like to take the shots and be the responsible for the success or failure of a project?
It's not really about being the boss, but responsibility and impact is are super important for me, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it depends a lot of your personality. I've seen people in that big company being totally okay with having a boss, don't worry too much about the direction and the purpose of the company, just doing their work.
But are they entrepreneurs though?
Yeah. That's right. They are just
They are not.
employee. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I feel, that if you wanna, I don't know, a lot of people I interview, and I say this example so many times, that there's people that are working in a company, they're perfectly happy with everything, even with their bosses, but the only problem is that it's not their company. And then you want to create something of your own, right? And I don't know, at least it was, I worked in a bigger company, then I worked in a startup. When I worked in a startup, I felt much more fulfilled, but every now and then I would always feel that, I want to do things my way. I want to do my own company. Was this something that was also in your mind? Because you worked in you said 2 startups, right?
Yeah.
Was this that came from time to your mind, that like, okay, I want to build something on my own. I want to build my own products, or not so much?
Yeah, I always wanted to build my own product, and I guess being my own boss as well. I starting as a freelancer. So when you start a career as a freelancer, it's like super hard to be an employee after that.
I guess when you taste also the freedom of being your own boss, it's really hard then to get in line. Especially because sometimes, even if someone is better than you, it reaches a point where they might be better than you, but it's not in every aspect of the thing, right? So they might be better than you in coding, but you are better in marketing, or whatever. There's many possibilities. And you feel that there are certain decisions you wouldn't make that they are making. And then you say, okay, I'd rather be me taking the shots, because I don't agree what my boss is deciding to do.
Yeah, it generates a lot of frustration when you're in a company that don't go in the right way, or the way that you think is the right way.
You also mentioned that one of the startups you worked at failed. Why did it fail?
So the first one to open the US market, so that was like a kind of a startup. I mean, we were in an accelerator and stuff, so it was startups, and it failed because of politics. At this time, the retailers, the big company over the startups, had some issue with like basic retailing stuff. So they cut everything that is not super core business.
So the product or the startup didn't fail per se. They just decided to shut it down because it was not making money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And what about the second one? Is it still working?
Yeah, it is still working. So it's an edtech company, and I joined. That's a silly story again. I joined the company because the founder wanted to recruit a CTO at this time, and they just raised some fund. And so I came back to France to do the visa, and I wanted to come back afterward in the US. But they never actually received the money. So I spent a year in France waiting for the money to arrive. But there is a lot of issue with the VC.
But were you working? Were you actually getting paid?
Yeah. I was working remotely with a team of tech guys. But I was recruited as a CTO, and I was doing more job of basic developers. So I spent my whole time coding, and not something I was super happy with.
What is the big difference between working in the US and working in France?
The big difference are speed of execution.
In the US, they are slower or faster?
No. Yeah. They are faster. Sorry. Yeah, they are probably faster, and they also have a bigger market. And they also dream of something bigger. I think that in France, it's super hard to have like to have like a moonshot in mind, saying, okay, I'm gonna try to do this next Uber or the next Airbnb. While in the US, well, I was in San Francisco, so there is a huge bias here,
exactly,
I guess.
Yeah.
But in France, when you say, okay, I want to disrupt the whole taxi market, the people will say, no, you cannot do it. and in San Francisco, they will say, okay, how do you want to do it exactly? And that's I guess a big difference.
So do you think this is better? It's a better mindset to don't be afraid to dream big?
Yeah, I think it's better. Yeah. One of my mentor at this time used to say, in the US, they are building unicorns, while in France, we are building ponycorns. And I think that's kind of right. I mean,
do you think it's the same for indie hackers and bootstrappers? Do you think that you also need to think big as a bootstrapper, or is it better to take it slow and grow your business more sustainably?
I guess it depends a lot of what you want to achieve and what kind of project you want to build. I really think that both ways are totally okay. There is a lot of bashing in the indie hackers cultures about raising funds, having a VC on your board, and this kind of stuff. And I'm not fully agree with that. I think that if you want to create like a family business that grows slowly and make your own lifestyle, that's okay. But if you want to disrupt the market or go super fast, then you need to raise, and that's okay as well. Just really depend on what you want to achieve.
Yeah, I'm always facing the exact same dilemma. Like, shall I try? Because I think they are completely different routes. The route of VC, you need to focus in maybe creating a good storyline and pitching and getting money and thinking that this will be a long-term thing. Whereas bootstrapper, I mean, you shipped 6 products in 6 months, right? Like, you can be more flexible. So I'm always thinking, okay, what should I do? And going back to your situation, right? So this company didn't work out. They didn't get the VC money. And was it then when you decided, okay, let's try bootstrapping, becoming an indie hacker?
No, because after this one, after the edtech company, I co-founded a startup with 2 guys.
Right.
And I left the company after a year.
What was this startup about?
It's, I guess you know it. It's Logology.
Oh, okay. Yes. With Dagobert and Lucy.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay. I already interviewed them both. You know?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. I know everything about Logology. Okay. Cool. So tell me about it. It didn't work out. You didn't enjoy it, or how did that process go?
So I guess we are not agree of how to do things.
It's hard to get co-founders. I feel like I've never actually started a startup, but I had many projects before that never actually grew up and took off. But I always, because I prefer working with others, but it's always can be a bit dangerous, right? Because if you don't see eye to eye, if one is more motivated than the other, it can just kill the whole project.
Yeah.
So you really never know. So you finish working to Logology, you split it, and then you decided, okay, it's time to go on my own. How did you come up with the idea of actually building 6 products in 6 months?
So I was part of the indie hacker community before. I think even before doing Logology. So I always kept an eye on it. And I think what really triggered me to be an indie hacker and try the 6 in 6 challenge was the tweets of Daniel Vassallo. I'm sure you know it. You know him, sorry. And yeah, when I discovered that with like a simple video of 1 hour, about how to build your Twitter audience, that he made $100,000 something at this time. It totally blows my mind because I'm a developer. I started as a developer. I spent 10 years coding stuff, complex projects, building like super complicated database relationship and stuff.
Yeah.
And this guy with 1 hour of video on YouTube, he made like a huge ton of money. And I was like, wow, okay, I need to try it. And that's why I started to say, okay, I'm sure there is a way to make money and try way more simpler product than, creating a new SaaS with a new huge tech stack and stuff.
When you started doing this, do you have like freelancing clients? Were you making some kind of income or not at all?
Nothing. Because I had at this time I had something like 6 months of runway in savings, and so that's why I said, okay, I will try to build like 6 products in 6 months and see what happens, if I can make a living out of it or not.
Okay, let's go to month 1, first month. What was your idea then?
So my idea was to create a big list of places where you can post your startups. Because that's something so in Logology I was in charge of marketing, and I started to create like a list of places where you can post your startups. That's something I shared on Reddit, and I had a lot of traction from a small list. And I think, okay, I can probably make a huge list, way bigger than this one, and set it for like I think I started at $20 or something.
So it was just a list, just a normal list. Which tool did you use?
I use Airtable.
And then, that's really interesting. So you built this list, and so I was even checking here one of your tweets. So best place to promote your startup, and you have like G2, Twitter, Beta List, Capterra. Yeah. I guess it took you. How long did it take to build the list?
I don't know exactly, but 10 days or something.
Okay. So the first 10 days of the month, you build the list, and then it's about selling it, right?
Yeah.
How'd that go? How did that go?
It goes super well. Again, I don't have the metrics exactly, but I sold like at least 20 or 30 of them, like in the first month, without really having an audience, because at this time I restarted my Twitter account, and I had like 1,000 something followers.
Okay.
So that was not huge launch and huge sales, but that was clearly a signal telling me that, okay, you can do something from it.
So, but how did you advertise that if you didn't add, 1,000 people is still a lot. So did you only use Twitter? What channels do you remember? Which channels work best?
Yeah, I did. So I did Twitter, I did Indie Hackers, and Reddit mostly.
Mm-hmm. And how did you use Indie Hackers to get people to buy this list?
Super simple.
Posts? Okay.
Yeah, just create a post saying, "Hey, I just create a list of 400 places where you can post and promote your startups. If you want to buy it, it's like $89 something."
$89?
No. 18. Sorry.
18. Okay. And people paid for it. That's amazing for me. You know, people are so cheap. They really don't like to pay for anything that they can somehow find themselves. It's amazing the fact that they actually paid for it.
Yeah, but the value proposition is super obvious. I spend 10 days. So if you want to do the same thing, you will spend 10 days or something like 10 days.
Yeah.
And you will prefer to spend $20 instead of spending 10 days, right? So
is that how you sold it? Did you say exactly these words to people?
Yeah, first I was super feature based. Like you have 80 startup directories and then 200 Facebook groups and this kind of stuff. And one of the first testimonial that I collect was, okay, if I want to do the same thing, it will take me at least 7 days. So I prefer to pay $19 instead of spending 7 days. And that's pretty obvious.
But how do you convince people that you're not scamming them? Because I feel this with my community, that people say like, how do I know that if I join, maybe it will not pay, the money that I actually spent. So how do you convince them that it was not a scam?
So I did two things. The first one is on the landing page, I embed like a sample of the list, so you can browse through the list from the like 10 first occurrence of the list of each category. And then I guess it's because also it's like super cheap, so people don't. I mean, most of people that are buying my product or this product are people that are just launching or just starting to build something, and they buy it saying, okay, I'm okay to spend $20 And even if I can get some backlinks from it and a few traffic, it worth the $20.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super easy to spend $20 on ads. So yeah, the value proposition is quite easy. And at the beginning, I had also a refund policy. So if you want a refund, I will refund you without asking any question.
Mm-hmm. And so how much money did you make from this? Are you still making money from this?
Yeah, I still, because I bundle it with my fourth product, which is User Booster. So I kind of shut down the first product and bundle it with my fourth product, which is User Booster.
So how much money did you make from this list? Do you know more or less?
Yeah, something like $10,000.
$10,000.
Yeah,
that's amazing. That's really amazing with the list. It's super cool.
So I was inspired also with people like GetScrapbook.com or GetTeams.co, I guess. Same stuff. They are making lists and selling a list. And you can see also on Product Hunt that there is a lot of list of stuff for sale. Or that's a huge trend.
So how did you feel after your first month? Did you feel like, okay, this is easy?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
And then you start the second month. What product did you build? What company or?
So my second product was like a product hunt for IDs called idhunt.net.
Okay.
Again, in the indie hackers community, it's super hard to know how to validate your ID. So I think, okay, I will create like a product hunt and you can vote for the best IDs. And if you have like a bunch of votes, then you can say, okay, it's validated.
Okay. So this one is a bit more complex to create, right? How much time did it take?
That's a good question. I used Bubble for it.
Okay.
In my challenge of 6 in 6, I always wanted to do as much time as possible into marketing, spend as much time as possible to marketing. So, and my rule was to spend not much than 50% in building. So for ID Hunt, I think I spent like 2 weeks for building the MVP and then 2 weeks of trying to promote it.
Right. And when you're doing this, when you're doing the second product, are you still doing marketing for the first product? Or do you just like stop the first product and go for the second?
No. I continue to market the first product because I still got some traction from the first, from the launch and also the tweets and so on. So yeah, I continue to push the list while building the second product.
One or your month would be splitted by promoting the first product, building and marketing the second product, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, but we are still in the second product, so let's continue. You built it, you launched it. Now, I guess you had a bigger audience already, or was your Twitter growing a lot for the first month?
Not a lot. No. But it was growing, but not a lot.
Okay. So how did it go, the launch?
I got some interested feedback, but I had no business model in mind at this time.
You didn't know how you were going to make money?
Yeah, that was a huge problem. And I also, so I had a few, I don't remember again, but like 50 IDs on the website posted by people. I had votes on the website, but I quickly decided to stop it because no business model in mind and no obvious traction. So I decided to stop it.
What did you learn from it? To have a business model first, or what were the things you got from this failed product?
I did it mostly because I wanted to learn how to use no code and to test no code, to see how fast can I be with no code. So that was my main objective with ID Hunt. And that's also why I started it, even though I had no idea of how I can monetize it.
Do you set up your goals before starting? Like what you want to achieve, or you just do it?
Yeah, I just do it most of the time.
Okay, interesting. So this one, you immediately decided to stop. Did you feel bad for it? Did you feel like, oh man, I put so much effort and it's not working? or is it easy for you to just drop projects?
So yeah, that was one of my objective of doing 6 in 6. I wanted to try to launch and learn how to launch and learn how to get traction or attention from people. And I also wanted to learn how to fail, because I've met a lot of startup founders, struggling with their product for years, like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and they can fail or stop it because they put too much ego, effort, and stuff in their company. So I was kind of afraid of it. So I wanted to learn how to fail. So I don't know. I keep idea going for like 2 months or something, and then I stop it. And I was totally okay with it. I was no feeling with that particular project. So yeah, no hard feeling.
Doesn't it feel bad when you like share this idea with your friends, and then the next month you're already working in another idea? Doesn't it worry you that people might say, Xavier is always changing his mind and always changing to different ideas, or this was not an issue?
That was not an issue. So I had this feedback a lot, of course.
Okay. From your friends, or from your Twitter friends, or from your like friends?
No, friends don't really aren't really entrepreneurs, so they don't really understand, or they're just thinking that it's nice to build product. Yeah, but they have no enough background to say if it's good or bad. And my friends from internet friends. So yeah, I had a lot of feedback from them saying, okay, really? Do you want to build 6 in 6? It's like, are you not afraid to not be focused enough on product? And I think they're right, actually. But again, Daniel Vassallo and make my mind with it, of the concept of, instead of doing all in for 3 years on the startups, raising money from a VC and stuff, trying to multiply the source of income and see what works, and stop what is not working, but continue what works. I wanted to try this approach. So I was totally okay with feedback saying that I was not focused enough, because it was like super right. But that's what I wanted to achieve. So
okay. So let's go to month 3, your third product. What was it?
So it was a job board. Again, I discovered job boards in the Indie Hackers community, I think.
What is this, a job board?
A job board is a website when you have job offers. It's like basically a list of job offers. When you can apply for a job. And so I wanted to create like a super niche job board. So I created remotefr.com. So it's a job board for French developers that want to go fully remote. So I get job offers from all over the internet, but I keep only the fully remote for French people. And so yeah, that was super easy to build. I spent like 2 days building it, something.
Did you automate it, or?
Yeah. So I made it with no code again. So it's a Airtable database with a front end with a website called Table to Site. So you just plug your Airtable and it makes like a nice design over it. Yeah. And I automate it with a small JavaScript script to get the jobs.
So where were you taking the jobs from?
From GitHub, Stack Overflow, Lever, all the job offer platform.
In your product so far, the technology, it's nothing everyone can build, right? You're more focusing on something that you can easily sell, right? Yeah. So in this case, the jobs are already there. It's nothing new, but you're just packaging it and selling only to the French developers, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the 6 in 6 challenge was really about me learning how to do marketing. more than me learning how to build, because I always know how to build stuff.
Right.
And from my experience of being a developer, I understand that you cannot sell or make a living on yourself from a product only. You have to learn how to sell to people, how to market your product.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to achieve.
How did you come up with these ideas? Would you like take some time and think, or they would just come to you? Would you write them down? What was the process?
I think it's a muscle. So when you are looking for ideas, you just spend time on communities, talking with people, and ideas are popping up in your head. Like,
right. Do you write them down?
Yeah, and I wrote that. Yeah, I did, and I just choose the one that seems the more accurate or not too hard to build. Yeah, it's a combination between being easy to build and having a potential of easy to sell as well.
How do you decide if it's easy to sell?
I don't. I just guess it.
Yeah, how do you guess it? Do you do any is it like only intuition, or you just like because people are speaking about it? Like, what makes you decide if it's good or not before actually trying?
For like ID hunt, it was, I think that validating an ID is like super hard. It's like a recurring pain for people, for makers. So I identify the pain and say, okay, I will try to build a solution for that pain.
Right.
For the job board, and that was the same mechanism for the list. For the job board, I just wanted to try a job board. and that was pretty much it. Yeah.
What is your strategy for launching this product? Is it always the same? Do you have like always the same process, or does it change?
No, it's always kind of the same process. So it's just trying to be in the community where my potential customers are. So for the job board, so job board is kind of hard to scale or to kickstart, because it's like a marketplace. You need to have companies paying you for the job offers, and you also need to have like developers or traffic of some sort. And you can monetize the job boards only once you have like traffic, for like real traffic.
Right. So how would you make money? Actually, the companies would pay you to show their jobs there.
Yeah, that was the idea. Yeah, that was the idea.
But initially, you were just pulling this information from Stack Overflow and GitHub and so on.
Yeah. The idea was to pull job offers from a public website and put it together only with remote offers, and to get some attention from the developers. So I create a mailing list, and I send the mailing list, weekly mailing list with all the job offers to the developers. So I wanted to generate some traffic, and then my idea was to sell the job offers once I have like a substantial traffic.
Right.
But I failed.
Okay. So why did it fail? You didn't get the traffic.
Yeah, and that's super hard. That's really. I mean, I think there is two scenario with job boards. The first one is you are riding kind of a trend. We saw this recently with Web3. There is if you have a community already, an audience, and you are riding a trend like Web3, and then you can have a shit ton of traffic quite easily, and then it's easy to monetize. But if you are not riding a trend, or if you don't have any big audience, then it's really hard to create an audience. I mean, you need to go with creating blog posts, content marketing, and it take like a year at least of work.
Right.
And so I just didn't do the work for having the traffic.
Yeah, this is also important. All of your products are mostly targeting the same audience, right?
Yeah, except for this one, except for the job board.
Except for even the job board, I guess there's a lot of developers that are also indie hackers, and they have side projects, I guess, right?
Yeah, but it's French only, and my audience isn't in French at all. Indie hackers is not in French, so I had a lot of trouble creating traffic from French people. It was super high, and obviously it's a smaller market than the global market. So yeah, that was hard.
So how did you feel? You now this is month 3, 4,
three,
and you failed the previous one. You failed this one. Were you getting discouraged?
No. No. You don't have to. You don't have time to be discouraged in that kind of challenge.
Because think about it, right? Like your runway is also running out, right? So I mean, you made some money with your first product, which I guess extended a bit your runway.
Yeah.
But didn't you have the pressure of actually getting, out of money and not achieving what you wanted to achieve in terms of a salary or something?
No, not really. Because I always thought that even if I failed the challenge, I could try to find a job as a developer in any company, and I will be able quite easily to find a job. So I don't have any pressure from money or stuff.
Okay. Month 4.
Yeah, month 4. Project? It's a user booster, so it's a Notion template.
Right.
And the idea came from the first one. I mean, the customers of the first product, the list, because so I sent to my customers a list of 400 places, and I got a lot of feedback of people telling me, okay, that's nice to have like 400 places, but I don't know how to post on Reddit. I don't know how to launch on Product Hunt. I don't know how to use Facebook groups or So I decided to create like a Notion template where I described every step of the strategy to launch your product. So before the launch, what you have to prepare before the launch, how to launch on Reddit, what the strategy there, how to launch on Product Hunt, what the assets do you need, what the strategy do you need to do before, during the launch, and after the launch. And so I did it for every communities and places. And I said it.
How did you learn all of this?
Oh, I learned by myself, just doing for my own product and trying what works and iterating on, to know more and stuff.
Right. So now User Booster, I just opened it right now, and it says find out how to get your first users. You get it, you pay, and is it a one-time pay or a subscription?
Yeah, it's a one-time. It's a lifetime access.
So it's like a list or like a book, right? A book that tells you how to use these tools.
Yeah, it's basically a wiki of how to launch your startup.
How do you come up actually with the prices? I can see that you have a standard version for $49, then a bundle version, which I guess includes the list for $99, and then a booster version for $200, I guess. How do you come up with the prices?
Yeah, it was a long process. So at this time when I launched User Booster, I think that the first product, I raised the prices to 29 or 49, I don't remember. And so I made early access, like pre-sales for User Boosters at something like 19. I sold a lot of them, and then I just raised the price every time I reached like a milestone of like 100 sales something. And I ended with, and I also looked at the competition, how much are people selling this kind of product.
You didn't do any calculations whatsoever. You just decide, okay, let's start with this, and then let's keep on going up until people stop buying?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
And did you notice actually that people stopped buying after a certain price?
I don't know, because I stopped the experimentation at 49, the current price. I don't know if I can sell it more. Maybe I can.
And how long? So this one, how long did it take to launch? And what were the results?
I think something like 2 weeks to build.
So you always go for this 2 weeks, 2 weeks.
Yeah, maybe a bit more, because I didn't know Notion at this time, and I wanted to learn Notion. But yeah, something like 2 weeks, and then pre-orders.
How did you do the pre-order? Yeah, how did you do this? The marketing for the pre-orders?
So at this time, I had like an audience, 3,000 followers, something, I guess.
How did they grow, by the way? How, just with the fact of you sharing your journey?
Yeah, and I got some traction from the fact of saying that I was doing 6 and 6. And when I started the 6 and 6 challenge, I also started to build my own audience on Twitter. So I did this on the side.
Any tips? What worked best on Twitter?
Being consistent, for sure, like tweeting every day, engaging a lot with your audience, like every morning, just answer everyone on your timeline, and stay focused on your topic, like one or two topic, and stay focused.
You are now reaching 8K, so that's definitely worked. How much money did you make in this one? So you launched, you got pre-sales, which is amazing. How much money did you make?
From the launch, something like $1,500, something on the first month, and I'm still doing money from it.
So this one was the most successful one up until now. The 4th month was still the first one, right? Where you got 10K.
So no, I didn't go 10K on the launch, right? I did 10K on the long term. Yeah. And the most successful one is now User Booster. I kind of shut down the first one. It's still online, but I didn't promote it at all. And I promote User Booster with the bundles.
Because you bundled it, okay. Yeah. What about the job board at this point? Did you shut it down?
No, I haven't shut it down yet. I'm still publishing new job offers. I stopped the newsletters because they took me some time to build, curate the jobs and tag the jobs. But it's still online. I wanted to make a blog to do the work for the content marketing, but I stopped because it took me too much time without any ROI in the short term. But what I did is I launched a podcast about remote working. And I'm doing the podcast. So the job board is running by itself right now. And I'm doing the podcast because it's fun. I meet a lot of new people. I'm just like it.
And you use the podcast as a marketing tool to get people in the job board.
That was the idea at the beginning. I'm not sure it will work anytime soon, but I don't care. I just like podcasting, so I continue.
Podcast is really cool, right?
Yeah.
Let's go to month 5. What was the product then?
Yeah, month 5 was the biggest product that I tried to build.
Okay.
So the challenge was to build a SaaS. So I wanted to build at this time, I think the idea was to create Superhuman, but for your Twitter DMs.
Right. Superhuman is for emails, right?
Yeah. It's a super productive tool to manage your emails inbox. And I wanted to do it for Twitter DMs because Twitter DMs are super hard to manage especially when you grow. Yeah. So that was the challenge, and I did it with a co-founder at this time, not alone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how did that go?
It was super hard to do within a month because it was basically creating a SaaS from scratch with code within a month.
Right.
So that was super, super hard. I think I didn't do it. I think I made a landing page. I made a waiting list, but I was a bit late on this one. And that was a big fail. So I did interviews to the potential customers to understand the needs and what kind of product I wanted to build. So I did it, and I built a product, and I think I didn't build the right product. So I pushed it a bit, trying to have early testers, early adopters, and I finally pivoted it into more CRM for Twitter DMs.
Right.
So just redo all the UI and UX, and again. So that was after the months, right? I worked on Pipe Social for I think 6 months.
Okay, so this one you couldn't finish in 1 month.
Yeah, it was super hard to do. Yeah.
So you didn't even launch it in the 5th month. You just tried to build it, when the month ran out, when your time ran out, did you like just stop it and start the next one, or did you just continue?
No, I continue because I think I launched the very, very first version after like 5 weeks
Okay.
instead of 4. And so I continue to, so I built it in 5 weeks, and then I continue to push it and work on it for at least 6 months. I still don't know what to do with it right now.
But did you still continue and build the 6th product in the meantime, right? Because we're still going for the 6th month. And so what was this last product? What did you build?
The product is a community, so Marketing for Makers community. Right. It's a private community for indie hackers or startup founders that don't know how to market the product.
So all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, basically all of us. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's a private community. We have accountability channel to, stay on track and keep and be motivated. And we also have like weekly calls when we try to fix the struggles, and it's a Discord channel. So we have like constant chat with the people, and we are now almost 50 people.
Wow. How much does it cost to join this one?
Now it's $25 per month. Yeah.
It's really nice to have a monthly subscription, isn't it? It gives you a little bit more steady paycheck.
Yeah, it gives more security and stability for sure. Even though I didn't really do it for the revenue, because I started Marketing for Makers with the early discount of 50%, so it was like $12 a month. And I don't want to grow like super fast. I just want to create a small group of people that are motivated together and nice together. But still having like a regular income stream is like really
helps. Yeah. I mean, in this, I definitely understand the problem you're solving, because everywhere I go on Twitter, people complain about marketing, and their biggest challenges is to get clients. And it's definitely super hard. So I totally understand the need for such a community. Is it solving the problem? Do you feel that it's actually solving the problem of the people that are using it? Do they become better? Do they show you results?
Yeah, for sure. I have really nice feedback from the members. What we do a lot, that's funny, but what we do a lot is giving feedback of landing pages, because when you create a landing page, it's kind of hard to have honest feedback on it. And so we do this a lot in the community, and we also discuss a lot about our strategy on social media, ads, or overall strategy. So I think that is really helpful for the members.
And was it easy to convince people to join and to pay for it? Or how did that process go? Because I have a very similar. Well, it's not a marketing community. I have a remote co-working space, basically, but it sounds very similar. We are there, like basically. We're tired of bootstrapping alone at our place, and now we have like this place where we chat with each other. We have random coffees. We support each other. It really feels like a little team, actually, and it fixes the problem of people feeling alone. So that's really nice. But it's still hard, and for me, I'm pricing it at $4 or $4.6 a month. But it's still very hard to convince people to join. Even though I have traffic coming to the landing page, etc. So how did you convince people?
Yeah, I think it's a lot about your reputation online. My whole audience on Twitter mostly is about me pushing marketing advice for startup founders, and also me building marketing-oriented product for indie hackers or startup founders. So I guess the people that know me on Twitter are willing to spend a few at least to try and see. And I also give a 7-day trial if you want to. So if you want to test the community to see how it's going, and just you can get 7 days for free.
I tried that with my community, but it was a bit weird because some people would join and then they would ghost us.
Yeah.
And I felt really creepy because, this is a real community and we all kind of know each other. People have already actually met in real life. So then suddenly having spies or ghosts just there, I felt that it didn't work very well for me. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I feel the same. I still have concern. Yeah, I'm mixed feeling about this. Because you're right. Sometimes we have some people popping up in the community saying, "Hey, hi, I'm now part of the community. I'm doing blah blah blah," and then after a few days, they say, "Okay, that's not a community for me," and then I kick them. And some people say, "But where are the guys that just popping up?" And say, and I don't know, and that's pretty hard to know what to do, and also how to reduce the numbers of people that are just lurking. Always a lot of people that are just connecting to the community, reading the stuff, but don't really participate into it.
Same.
Yeah, that's hard. I don't know. I don't have any solution for now.
I can see that in the join the community sections of your website, it says $25 a month, and then you say cancel anytime. And I think this is a good idea so that people know, okay, it's not a 1-year contract or whatever. You can always cancel. So that's really nice.
So I probably go to try to do like a quarterly or maybe a yearly subscription because some of my members are asking for it. So but for now, just super easy pricing, like $25, and then as soon as you don't want to pay anymore, you just go away. That's totally okay.
Yeah, it makes total sense. So this was the end of 6 months and 6 products. How were you feeling afterwards? Like, how much were you actually working per day?
Not that much.
Really?
Yeah, something like super normal.
8 hours a day kind of thing?
Yeah.
How did you feel after this? Did you feel like, okay, I deserve a vacation?
So it was kind of hard at the end because when I launched the 6 products, the community, I was still pushing at this time. So doing marketing and some stuff for the first one. I was still doing the newsletter for the job board, pushing a user booster at the time, and coding Pipe Social as well.
Right.
So that was super hard. So when the challenge was offered, I was happy because I learned a lot of stuff. I was also happy because I earned enough money to continue, to say, okay, that's a viable path. I can continue to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I also I wanted to step down or slow down a bit because one product a month is like super, super stressful.
Yeah.
It's super fun, but it's also super stressful.
So after finishing this, were you making like a salary kind of money every month or not?
Yeah, at this time I was making something like 1,000 something, depending on the month, but that was not enough to make a living, like a decent living, but paying the bills. So I was ramen. I achieved like ramen profitability after 6 months, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. I'm doing this for 7 months and I'm not even making 100 euros. So it's definitely something really cool. And I really like your approach. I like the fact that you try to do something where you could easily show the value proposition. So what are your biggest learnings that, for people now that are maybe, other entrepreneurs and so on, what have you learned from these 6 months that, write it down and you are taking these lessons for life?
First is marketing is 80% of the job.
Okay.
I mean, building is okay and that's fun, but once the build is finished or kind of finished, you have a lot of work to do to market the stuff, distribute the product, and get users. That's really, really hard. Then I also learned that validation or market studies and this kind of stuff is probably overrated, especially when you can ship something as soon as possible and show it to users. Even though if it's like a basic landing page with a small drawing, the basic concept of what you want to do, and you put like a button on it, a pre-orders of some sort, that's really validation. That's where
it's better to do this than doing surveys and this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, server sucks. Waiting links sucks for sure. That was one of my big mistake for Pipe Social. Pipe Social, the CRM for Twitter DMs.
Yeah.
So I make a lot of interviews of potential customers. I created a waiting list, and when I launched the waiting list, the landing page was with the waiting list. I had something like 100 signups in a day or something. So I was like, wow, okay, that's super good traction. I'm going to be rich. And, and then I launched the real product to the waiting list only. And I got like 10% of signups, maybe 20, and almost no customers. The only customer that I have at this time was a friend that wanted to support me, but no, no real paying customers. Yeah.
So try to build an MVP as fast as possible and try to see if people pay for it. It's one of your lessons. Marketing is also 80% of the job. Any last lesson, like to make it 3? Any other thing, or?
A big one is about the small bet approach, I think.
What is this?
The Daniel Vassallo philosophy about instead of going all in with one big product on one only product, trying to create as many source of income as you can, and not too much maybe, but trying new stuff every time and see if it works. And if it's not working, just shut it down. But don't focus only on one thing, because entrepreneurship is a lot about uncertainty. And if you're going all in a world of uncertainty, you're probably kind of crazy.
No, definitely. I totally agree with you. That's definitely one of my biggest lessons as well, is that the idea you start with is not the idea you probably will end up with as an entrepreneur, especially as a bootstrapper. And you need to adapt very fast. I started with the climate change app, and now I'm doing a community, a co-working space for entrepreneurs. I'm doing completely different tools, and it's all about following also your audience. So definitely it's a great lesson. Xavier, thank you so much for sharing this journey with us, with the wannabe entrepreneurs. I'm sure that you will motivate a lot of the listeners here to try doing the 6 months, 6 products challenge. Are you going to do something similar soon, or now are you just going to continue the project you started?
So I'm not going to do like a 1 product a month challenge again, because it's like too short, and I want now to build more complex stuff. But I have in mind at least 2 products that I should ship in the next few months, I guess.
Okay.
The first one is a productivity tool to help you manage your task during the day, and also improve your wellness. Because I think, again, you said it earlier, but being an entrepreneur or developer in remote is a lot about being alone, and also being anxious about are you doing enough in your day? And I wanted to create like a solution to fix it. And then I also have a new idea about social media, but it's like super early, but to talk about. But I try to ship it before spring.
Okay. Super cool. I love the energy and the entrepreneurship inside of you. That's really nice. And it's super exciting to always, build different ideas and see them grow. I think that's also a really interesting approach. And thank you so much for taking the time to speak with the wannabe entrepreneurs. I will link your Twitter profile, User Booster, M4M, in the show notes so that everyone can go and check it out. And thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for this podcast. Was fun.
Thank you, Xavier. And for the listeners, if you want to listen other stories about bootstrappers and entrepreneurs, make sure to go to wannabe-entrepreneur.com. I have interviewed more than 30 different bootstrappers, and you can learn a lot from each one of them. And besides that, if you want to join our virtual co-working space, if you are tired of being alone, working alone, bootstrapping alone, we have a lot of entrepreneurs. We are working together. We are becoming friends. People are already meeting each other. And it's super nice. So I'm looking forward to see you there. The link will be in the description. And last but not least, if you like this episode, make sure to give it a nice review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And of course, share it around with all of your friends. This was another Wannabe Entrepreneur. See you next time.